Well, I found the rear differential, but how do you get in it? Hi everyone, welcome. Today I'm going to be replacing the rear differential fluid on this BMW X1 E84. Now, with a standard differential, there are two types of differentials that can come on this model, either a limited slip differential or a standard differential. And depending on what type, you'll have to use different gear oil. I'm assuming that this one has the standard differential, which means I need to put in 75W90 differential gear oil in the rear. And by the way, also the front takes that as well. But before I do that, I need to lift up the vehicle, secure it, and I'll show you how you can determine whether it's a limited slip differential or a standard differential, because you're going to need different gear oils. So let me get the car supported on blocks and level, and then we'll determine what type of differential we're dealing with, and then tackle how to open it up and take the old oil out and replace it with new fresh oil. I now have the vehicle lifted up and secured and level. So now the next step now is to get underneath the rear, find a differential, and figure out how to get the old gear oil out. So I have the vehicle lifted up enough that both rear wheels are off the ground, so I can determine whether it's a standard or open differential or a limited slip differential. So what I'm going to do is I'm turning the driver's side rear. I'm going to be turning it clockwise, and if the other wheel on the opposite side turns counterclockwise, it's an open or standard differential. Okay, so you can see it's turning in the opposite direction, confirming that it's an open or standard differential, meaning that I need to use 75W90 gear oil for the rear differential on this vehicle. It's also a good idea, just as an aside, to test whether your rear bearings are still good when you have both wheels off the ground. And what you do is you grab it at 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock and try and see if you have any lateral play, or turn it and see if you hear grinding. This one seems to be good, and the other one I know on the other side's good. So there's your quick check while you're doing this job. So here's the rear differential, and you'll see this here. This is the drain and fill plug. So it's used both for draining the fluid and for putting new fluid in. There's nothing below here to drain, so you have to use that to drain. What you need is a 14 millimeter Allen socket that fits in here like that, and then I'll have to put a breaker bar on to crack it open. Now I've got this rear cross member brace, support brace, that potentially could be in the way. If it becomes in the way, there are several bolts. It bolts on. I'll have to unbolt it and drop it so that I have more access here. But I'm going to try to avoid that extra work by trying to break it open with a breaker bar this way without having to remove this cross member. So I have the 14 millimeter Allen socket in the drain fill plug for the rear differential, and I've attached my 18-inch breaker bar. Now I'm going to try and see if I can crack it open without having to remove this lower cross member brace. I might be able to. If not, then I'm going to have to remove this so that I have more access. So I found the breaker bar in an awkward position, so I put my ratchet here, and you can see I've actually cracked it open. So now I just need to get a drain container here in case anything spills out, take it out, and then set up to start siphoning the old differential fluid out of the differential. Here I am taking it out, or unscrewing it. Here we go. And nothing came out, so that means I have it level enough that nothing needed to come out. So now the next step now is to start pumping the old fluid out. So what I have here is just a little simple extraction pump. I have the tube stuck inside the opening, the drain
plug for the differential. And what I'm going to do is just start pumping so that I can extract all the fluid. I should be able to get about a quart or a liter out of it. And then I'll need to obviously do the reverse and put in the new fluid. So here, let's get going. I can tell it looks a little, it's not too bad, but it looks a little dirty. I don't know the last time it's been replaced, so this is a good way for me to reset the clock on this differential. Before you dispose of the old differential oil, have a good look at it to look for discoloration, like from burns inside the differential, or metal fragments. Now you can see this oil is almost still translucent. It's actually in very decent shape for the age that it's in. It's probably been in for several years. So I don't see any issue here indicating that I don't have a healthy rear differential. So I can dispose of this oil now environmentally, knowing that it's not indicating any signs of damage or undue wear and tear. So I just wanted to let everyone know I was only able to extract exactly 1 liter or 1 quart of fluid out of that rear differential. So it may have a capacity, stated capacity of 1.4, but all I could get out was 1 liter. So I expect to only put in 1 liter. In real life, I don't believe that you can actually put in 1.4 liters or quarts. So just letting everyone know ahead of time so they don't get worried when they drain it and cannot hit that capacity. So now I'm ready to put in the new 75W90 gear oil into this standard rear differential. And I just want to indicate that it needs to be a synthetic gear oil, and it needs to fit the standard of GL5. So it needs to be 75W90 GL5 synthetic gear oil for this differential. Do not get anything else. So I'm going to start pumping. Here I have it set up where I have one part of my pump in the container with the new gear oil and the other end of the tube inside the differential. And I'm just going to start pumping and start filling it up. And I'll know when I've hit capacity when either I've hit the bottom of this 1 liter, 1 quart container, or it starts to dribble out of the drain fill hole. Then you know that you've filled it to capacity. So I'm just going to keep pumping here until I start seeing dripping. So now you can see it's starting to drip out, which means I've hit the capacity. And so now I need to stop, pull out the tube, and put back in the drain plug. And then I need to torque it. And I think the torque spec is 44 pound-feet or 60 Newton meters. So I was not able to fit any of my torque wrenches in here. Not even my small inch-pound one would fit in here. But I do know that it's 44 pound-feet is snug. It's not over tightened. So this is actually, that's about it. It's quite snug. It won't leak, and it's approximating the 44 pound-feet or 60 Newton meter that it needs to be. So this job is complete now. I just need to take this off, lower the vehicle, and then the next job will be to do the front differential gear oil, which is 75W90 GL5 synthetic oil as well. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching this comprehensive DIY tutorial on replacing the rear differential gear oil in a BMW X1. If there is an open or standard rear differential, the gear oil recommended is 75W90 GL5 synthetic gear oil. It is also recommended that it be replaced every 3 to 5 years or 30,000 to 50,000 miles, which is also 50,000 to 80,000 kilometers. The torque specification on the dual-purpose drain fill plug is 44 pound-feet or 60 Newton meters. We hope you found this DIY tutorial informative. Please subscribe to our channel, Drive Chris Capredoni, and watch our other informative videos as your source for vehicle reviews, analysis, maintenance, and restorations.